Give us a sense of how much of a boost you see in sales ahead of a weekend like this weekend with the Kentucky Derby and Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, this is a big weekend for the beer business. We're fortunate, being primarily a Mexican beer company, that Cinco de Mayo kicks off our summer holiday. And we're also thrilled. We started for the first time last year to use closing of the stock exchange bell on the close before Cinco de Mayo to kick that off.
All right.
Cinco is our second largest sales weekend of the year in our business.
Okay, now, having said that, Constellation Brands is struggling to maintain wine share. Why is that?
I'd say recently, Charlotte, we've been doing a much better job at that. I think for the past couple of years, we've really been focused on, more internally focused on how we make the wine and how we organize ourselves, and also more on our route to market. I think in the last 2 years, we've had a concerted effort to get more in touch with consumer profiles. And I think if you look at IRI for the last 6 months or so, we've actually been gaining market share back that we may have lost in the previous years.
How much of it is due to competition of ready-to-drink bottled spirits cocktails?
We don't feel they interface with us a great deal, although that is a pretty good consumer trend, and we're coming out with an Arbor Mist frozen cocktail pouch, which we feel is going to have a lot of sales this upcoming summer.
You know, when I was looking at your stock price, I saw a big dip. Tumble, really, back in early April. The stock went from 24 to 21, a 12% plunge, because the guidance for the full year was a bit weaker than expected. Are you seeing any improvement since that earnings results came out that might give investors reason to come back in?
I think we've seen since that day, and you're right, the street did not like the guidance we gave for the next year. There was some confusion around it because we actually refinanced our debt, which we look at as a positive, which caused some interest expense, some confusion. We're continuing our aggressive stock buyback program, which I think people are reacting to pretty well. And I think since then, the stock has stabilized, probably between $21 and $22, which actually, if you look just 6 months ago, is pretty well ahead of where we were. So I think what we're focused on at Constellation is executing the plan that we have internally and executing what we've told the outside world.
Okay, you also have a beer distribution contract with Modelo that you have to give notice on by the end of next year. Any idea what you're going to be doing with that? Can you give us a sense of the thinking?
Sure, there's no new news on that, and actually what that is Modelo gives notice to Constellation as to whether we will continue to be the marketer and distributor of its Mexican beers. We feel, as you can see, if you live in the United States, Corona is a fantastic brand. We have some new commercials coming out around Corona Extra and Corona Light. We think we're fantastic stewards of that brand. And what Modelo decides to do, we'll find out soon. But the contract between us and Modelo does not end until the end of 2016. So we actually have quite a bit of time.
A little bit of time. Okay.
Quite a bit of time.
You talk about new commercials. That's all part of brand building. In 2013, what other initiatives will you take to bolster your brands?
We have quite a bit of brand building, new commercials around Corona, probably our largest branded product, new commercials around Svedka. If you know Svedka, the famous fembot, actually formed here in New York City. It's a very large spirits brand, approaching 4 million cases, double-digit growth, and more commercials around the Arbor Mist frozen pouch, which we're also very excited about, and some of our other new brands, Simply Naked, which is a new wine brand, an unoaked wine that's actually doing very well with consumers.